Hey, my name is Olga Karloutsos, and this is my dear friend.
I'm Mehiel, and we are here sharing with you our podcast, What the Hell
Are We Well?
Today, we're going to talk about what moves us, what grooves us, what keeps us going in today's environment.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's hard to figure out. Where are we going? Where's the world going? This topsy-turvy place.
And how do we adapt to it?
So we have friends and family that help us get through it as best as we can.
We'll be bringing them on as guests also, right? Yeah, I will be bringing on as guests.
Yes, we will, to torture them. Yeah, and to hear their take on what's going on, to help us. This is what it's all about.
So what's the vision in the political landscape? Yeah, well, period. That's a big issue for the world at large and what's happening with our young people in this world.
You walked in here and you said, let's talk about social media.
Right.
That's a great topic. And I believe that social media has laid the seeds, has laid the ground, right, for many of the disruptive behaviors and circumstances that we're going through right now. I mean, how do you work with your own social media? What does that do to you? How does it impact you, just personally?
So I've noticed lately, what is going on in our world politically? We used to go on and you'd be looking at your friends and what they're doing and you'd be happy and you're like, oh, let me catch up on what they're doing. This is awesome. That's so nice. And then it started becoming a world of anything that I say into my phone and I open up social media, all of a sudden, it's something that's going to make me angry. It's like, I open up and I'm like, right to the nervous system. And if I don't do that, if I wake up in the morning and I pick up my meditation book, my 24-hour book, daily meditation, and go, drink my water, have my coffee, go about my day, it's just a little bit softer, where if I pick up and right away, the jarring news, then I call you by like 8:15 a.m. being like, can you believe that? That's when I go into my tirades, is when I am right away addressed with it. And I put myself in that position by taking the bait, and for whatever reason, it's always that asshole, that comes on and encourage stuff. It's always that not so nice person that comes up on my feed, whoever it is, right? But I still follow for whatever reason.
So there is the unfollow that person to stop that. Right. But I mean, yeah, it is certainly you get hit with negativity, what's going to get your cortisol levels up high, the spiking. Yeah. Is it parasympathetic, nervous system, everything's out of whack. You also end up buying a lot of shit that you don't need.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then my God. And
the vaporizer.
Yeah, the vaporizer, oh, my gut is acting up. And all of a sudden they're showing me, photos of the intestines and everything that's in there. Or, I just happen to be Googling infrared lights because that lowers the inflammation, has a lot of great benefits. You keep on getting out, that's all I'm getting through. But actually, today, I'm kind of proud of myself because Olga and I have been talking about this too. We have to disconnect from social media a little bit and connect with real people. And I've been driving myself there slowly to the point that over the weekend, I was like, you know what? I might just be done.
Right.
But then we know there are reasons we're not completely done. But just limiting, I probably spent, I'm going to call it 2 hours today. Right, within the whole day, from the time I woke up at 6 in the morning, didn't start there either, right, which is I used to it is now 5 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock, probably 2 hours. That's a lot. Still sounds like a lot. But last week, it could have been 4 hours.
Yeah, it depends on middle of the night, too. It's what could be going on in your day. If I have a slower day, because I'm a lot of the time spending it in a very quiet place, right? As we know, I live, in Southampton most of the time. And I'm a little sometimes alone, where that's when I can find myself. And I'm like, you know what? That's why I've been checking in with more books, even going to in-person meetings that I don't necessarily want to go to, or, just doing whatever it takes. So I'm not. This is not feeling.
That's not good.
Right.
And the more I think about it too, we're the profit center. Right? For this, what's in this phone. We are the profit center. We are feeding it.
Right.
And that doesn't feel good. The fact that we are being exploited.
Right. And if we think about like Karen, think about when you were kids, right? I hope to see that. Like I see my kids now who are now 16 and 18 years old. And it's painful for them. It's painful because it not only brings, right? There's like the compare, despair. We always had that in like whatever. Yeah. There's always somebody that's going to have more than you, someone that's always going to have less. So it's going to be prettier, all those things. But when you're constantly being fed, anytime you pick up your phone about like how hot somebody is, how rich somebody is, like it can affect us as adults, but then not having your frontal lobe
fully developed, and you're looking at this crap, it's alarming, causing suicide. Yeah.
Causing serious trauma and drama. And now there are majors, like one of my kids is studying in college, media psychology, how this affects the brain. Like that is wild. This wouldn't have even been, and it's only been a major for 2 years. But now we need studies.
We need studies like that. We also need studies, we were talking about social media, but what's coming at us with AI, and it's here, right? Not coming at us. It's here. It's going to be more and more improved. There was an actor recently, and I signed on. He was like, put the petition together to lobby to say we need reform. We need to regulate AI before it becomes too dangerous. I put my name on there right away. I don't know where it's going to go. It's up to government. It's up to our leaders, Congress, to do this, to regulate.
Right.
There's big money they're pushing against or they're putting in their pockets to get reelected. So, we'll see how much they're going to push back. But I think, listen, we're doing a podcast. So, we can't be hypocrites here. The podcasts go out and, some of them go on social media, serves reels about, but we want to, if we're going to have social media, let's come back to having things that you care about, educational, it can be funny, entertaining, but not so dark,
but informative. Yeah, informative and not, because sometimes people, I'm coming in contact with so many more people, right? They think ignorance is bliss. I'd rather not know. And I'm like,
you have to know.
Why don't you want to be informed? Why are people so scared to be informed? Because a lot of people want to look the other way because they may want one part of something or one part of a policy that in the end is taking away from a lot of other things. So it's a challenge,
but we have to just, again, I think I've said this before, I tend to use this word over and over, but we need to amplify. We're two women in New York that don't have a platform. But the next two in Kansas City or in Chicago, wherever they are, just more voices saying the same thing.
More voices. And I think right? I think just me and you are more privileged probably than a lot of other people, as we know that, right? And anyway, so we do have, and that's okay to say that. No, I'm not acknowledge. It's still how you acknowledge and say that. And we're definitely more privileged. We have a lot more of a clap on than, right? Than, let's say, a lot of other people that have no voice because they don't even know where to start. So we're like blessed enough. And then hopefully we'll be able to bring some people on that will, be able to educate us on those lost voices that a lot of people don't have any contact with. And I know you want to empower people to do that more, and so do I. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And as we're talking, we're sitting in New York City, right? And we've got our election today for mayor. The whole world is watching this election, right? We don't know the outcome. If Mondani is elected, we don't know the outcome. In the spirit of trying to understand that this is one election, right? This is not going to change the world. It's not going to change the United States. It's New York City. Whoever the mayor is, I wish them success. I hope that they're successful for the people of New York, for the city of New York. I think we have more in common than not. I will say, though, with Mondani's performance and his approach in the way that he has campaigned, I think it's been refreshing. And I think that more candidates should emulate that. He listened to people and he heard them and he went around and he met them. And I think that's better to do that than to have the people come to you.
Right.
Or you project onto them what you think they need.
Right. It's definitely refreshing. I think
This is for people, the citizens voting.
Oh, no.
You know, and not Mandani in the sense that, you know, it's about how our voices and people that want to lead are coming to us and asking us the question.
right. No, and I think that makes sense. That's a great way to approach it because that's long gone. That's been long gone.
It's been long gone.
In the world. Wherever we land with all of this, that we can find common ground. We can unite together. We can stand against people taking away rights for any beings on the planet, not just one certain group of being or one certain group, like all human rights. And that's something that I've been seeing more and more. It's like, oof. That's the hard part for me, is watching people exhibit biases only towards one group of beings that deserve equality. Because I've seen people over the years, as you have too, right? I mean, racist, bigoted, anti-Semitic, anti-gay, anti-trans. I've seen so many things over the years that I just want people to leave people alone based on their gender, their religion.
Live and let live. So, yeah, they just live and let live. I mean, they're not harming you.
Right.
They're not in your house banging down the door. Let them do what they're doing. And all these people that you've named and you know, or groups, I mean, they're giving back to society.
Right. And I don't know why people have such an opinion on female, you know, rights or, you know, trans healthcare. Like what does that have to do with you? And why would some person, particularly a man, be voting on that?
Right. Yeah, that's not for you to say. It's not your body.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if I lived in another state and, you know, I've shared this pretty openly with people, I'll just say it right now. And I don't know if you have an experience like this, but I know for me, I had an ectopic pregnancy. If I didn't live in the state of New York, I would probably have died because mine is an emergency ectopic pregnancy and I would have died. So for someone to be voting against, you know, if someone has an ectopic pregnancy, that's absolutely wild. And this is what's happening right now.
I know. I share that with you. Yeah, I had one when I was 27. So I'm mortified because my dad took me to the hospital. My parents, we had no idea what was wrong with me. Maybe I was 25.
Wait.
Whatever it was, I remember saying she's pregnant and she's, you know, and I almost died. And so, I mean, it was so close. They actually changed hospitals.
And you see, there's some actually really cool organizations. I don't know if you've seen that guy on This Is One Thing for social media. You do see some beautiful powers of example that, you know, you're like, oh, this organization looks really cool. I want to look into it. He's a pilot and that would be really cool to have a talk with him. He's a pilot. He started this organization and he flies people in from different states if they need a productive care and also for trans individuals.
That's beautiful. They're wonderful, selfless people that are out there that are doing stuff. And that's, you know, the other thing at times like we're in today, if you can give back a little bit, if you can do something totally to make a difference in someone's life, that goes a long way.
Right. And I think forever, that's always been the thing, right? Like as we grow into more mature human beings, right? The key that always has helped me is doing service, right? In my own life. Because if I'm not, I'm here. So it's a great way not only selfishly to get out of myself, but then also you are getting back. And I wish that's the thing for kids. That's where the esteem building starts, right? When we start helping others and get out of
your head. And also in terms of when you give, you get back too. So when I was in my 20s and I remember joining this West Hollywood homeless and doing something. And I had a friend that actually said to me, well, you're only doing it so you feel good. Wait a minute. But if someone is getting something out of it, 100%, I think it's okay that I feel good, that I'm doing something. I mean, I'm not Gandhi. Right. So,
and it's like, yes, actually, I am filling my self-esteem up rather than just, you know, doing the other things that don't fill my self-esteem.
Right. Yeah. And you've done so much. I mean,
right. So, yeah. So have you in different ways. We both have in different ways. I grew up with service all around, babe.
And you do it so personally though, too, usually.
Well, I like
one-on-one. I like to, and I think that's so brave and so selfless, because when you do it within a group, you know, you show up, you do something that day, maybe you're handing out food, maybe you're putting groceries together, but you're not making that one-on-one connection. Whereas when you're working with one person, you almost have a bigger obligation to come back or to have a relationship with that person. You know, the closest thing not even the closest thing. I mean, you do it like that here.
You've done some cool thing that I wish, I would love to do. Some of the things are like, look, you got to go to Ukraine. You were you are Poland. We were on, where are Ukraine? Mexico. You did, what was the other thing that I was like, damn, well, we both got to go to Eastern Congo. That was amazing with Amani Global Works. We did
Rwanda, right? The DRC, right? Those were, those are trips that you don't always have the opportunity to do. And we're fortunate to be there. That was meaningful.
But that's the, these are the things like that I know. Look, we met through yoga, right? Well, we met through Fela, right?
But we connected through
yoga. And then as we were speaking, I saw that you were into like some type of humanitarian effort. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, so am I, let's go. And then we figured there were so many other things that we liked, like art and music. And it kept going, which that's one of the beautiful things about friendship, is that
you support one another to courage, right?
And then also we have so much in common.
Yes.
There's a lot of people. I was saying today, I left a voice note to someone. I was saying, I feel like as I continue to grow as a human, my circle is getting a little, and I don't want it to, but because of my values, I really do want to be around people that support those values.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about over the weekend about yoga and the benefits of yoga, particularly again during this time, and connecting with the breath and how that lowers the anxiety, the stress, the cortisol level, so many things it increases the capacity of the oxygen and cleanses the old stale
Clears toxins, creates more space, right? Not only in our body, like the creakiness in the body, but I always tell people, yoga is not only to create space, you've heard me say that a million times, create space in our body, but it's to create space here in between here, so that when we go outside, we feel a little bit already happier, nicer. And I hate to use those words, kind of lame, but
no, absolutely. So those are nicer. I mean, the nicer, but that absolutely, I feel happy when I make yoga and it stays in me. And it's back to, you feel branded. It does. Right. It was a reason.
And also it helps us feel, I feel like more, right? Do you feel more open after you do yoga? Not only like open, again, through a back lens per se, but open. My eyes feel a little bit more open where I'm not as closed off. Like I'm open to more ideas, whether it's something that I may feel divisive about an hour before, say, I practice, right? Then I can maybe feel a little bit softer about it, but it definitely does want me to connect with the earth more. That's another thing that tends to happen with yoga, which is quite nice since we are usually in this like concrete jungle of ours in New York. It feels quite nice.
I agree, with all that in the connection to earth. I was just reading where, Meghan Markle walks around barefoot. Right. So ancestries,
that's a common,
to warm and touch the ground, feel it.
Right.
We're in the concrete jungle, but, we're lucky enough to be near Central Park 100%, so that you can walk out, breathe, pause.
Put your face to the sun. That's another thing for 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the things by living by the beach, even though I'm not, in the winter, it's a little, try it. It's just living by the beach, going there, just feeling the earth, feeling God's presence.
Yeah, it's a spiritual place. What it really is. I mean, the awesomeness of the ocean.
Right.
I mean, and the power of it. It's just incredible. But when you come back to yoga and we talk about it, the patience it gives you. And you know, because it's good meditation too.
Right.
It is meditative.
Sure.
I mean, this is if you're doing real yoga, you're not in a, no, I'm not going to knock it. I was going to say, if you had a classroom where there's music booming, you know what? You can take that, absorb that or not. It's within your own practice, how you're feeling, how you're breathing, how you're moving. But our promise, and I don't say this so to people, we hear people all the time say, I can't do yoga. I can't do yoga. And I don't even ask why they can't do it. Because I've been there. But everyone can do yoga. We say that. We say everyone, everybody, 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 every type of body. You can be in a chair and do yoga.
Yeah, just not every pose is for everybody, but who cares? Like, right, everybody can do yoga. Everybody can do yoga. Just, there's so many, that's the thing is like, there's so many different components of yoga that people don't even know about. I think they just see people like in a hands, they see poses on either, they see a handstand or a back thing. Like, I can't do that. Or judging how the pandemic, how many of those poses were popping up on social media. I don't see them anymore. Choose a guess say to me. Or are they not doing it? Right. I don't see those poses. But maybe because also you're not looking at yoga as much, right? Maybe, perhaps. And now when we pick up our phones, there's going to be a lot of yoga.
Right. Could be inundated with yoga, beautiful bodies doing poses.
Right.
And I'm going to be like, I can't do that either, but I don't care. I don't care. My body does what it needs to do. Right. And what it's able to do.
And that's the thing, though. A lot of the time I feel like, Karen, people come into a class and I'll like tell them, I'm like, no one, and not in a bad way, no one cares. Like even, because I feel like I used to do that when I was in my like 20s and I was going to like Jivamukti yoga. And like, I remember, well, the first place I went, she said to me, go take a beginner's class. And I was like, what? But, you know, I was like shocked. She was like, you should take because you're all over the place.
And she said, right, you don't know what you're doing.
Right. And that wasn't a Jiva. That was a Life in Motion on 105th and Broadway at that time. And guess what? I needed that beginner's class. I needed that because at 25 years old, right? In your 20s, a lot of women don't have, it's very true, unless you're like a dancer or you're trained in some way through sports, you don't have that much control of your body in your 20s. You don't. I know I didn't, right? I was all over the map. And until I started to get into my 30s that I start to feel a little bit more of control in my body. And then I think with each year that came, like I was like, you start to know your body.
With yoga, it's so incredibly important to understand the nuances of your body and that pose, the nuances of the pose.
Right.
Because some people try to get further in the pose and their body is either not warmed up or gets the anatomy of the body is not going to allow it and trying to force it. And you don't want to force it. I don't know how many times, well, I was certainly with chaturanga, right? Or I used to just go down, my elbows would be out instead of here tied to my body. It was about that felt so good. My chest got tight, my abdomen zigged up, and it just feels good. Or the down dog.
Right.
I used to be in a down dog and I'd have all my weight in my wrists.
Yeah.
And I remember my doctor, I said something here. He's like, well, what are you doing? I said, I've been doing yoga. He's like, don't do yoga. He literally told me, do not do yoga.
Right.
Because the injuries he saw. But I mean, that's one thing. Well, we have a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
That was one of our candidates to show people how to do yoga properly.
Right.
It doesn't matter that you're not so advanced.
Right.
And take a block, a brick, or a wall, whatever you need. Take a chair, but do it right.
Right. Yeah. One of the things I think sometimes people find frustrating because as I've gotten more experienced as a yoga teacher, I don't like to take people as far as they want to go because they want to like run. They want to. And I'm like, you guys can't even forward, like not in a bad way, but you're not even doing a very fundamental pose right.
Right.
So why would I take you to something that you could really injure yourself? And I think that goes for a lot of our teachers at Five Pillars, FLOK, right? I really do. I think that when we do that, that is where people are like, "How I did yoga and
I'll never come back.
yeah,
Right.
you know, it also loses its value, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because there's no focus on breath. There's no focus on the movement. It's just focus on how fast can I go to make you sweat for you to become this Olympic sport yogi or something. I don't know. It's just changed a lot. Where like if we're focusing on like the fundamentals of breathing, movement, gazing points, it's pretty simple.
It's simple, but it needs to be taught, and you have to get out of your head and not compete with yourself. And that's where a lot of people, I know, and that's why they also say, I can't do yoga.
Right. It's all like ego.
You don't want to do yoga.
Right.
That's okay. That's okay. People need to find out what's good for them. We love yoga, you know. We love a lot of it, but I mean, right now I'm probably doing less yoga, you know, but I do come back to doing some sun salutations on the daylight.
Right.
Even if it's for 2 minutes, because that just
Centers.
yeah, it does something for me. I'm going to come back to grounding.
Right.
It grounds me in a good way.
Right.
And puts me in the right frame of mind. It really does.
Right. 100%. Like I said, I come out of class sometimes because I have a lot going on. We all do as humans. And I've been like, instead of just having my home practice, I need to get to a class 2 or 3 times a week to just be taught by someone. Right. So I've been going to class and I had been feeling a completely different energy on myself, just able to handle situations that were giving me so much more stress. Now I'm like, cool. I'm going to roll with it.
It's like
A little bit.
it's almost akin to, you know, if you have pain in your forearm and you were rubbing it, you might take away the pain a little bit, you might get into it, but it's completely different if you took my arm and you start rubbing it. And she's doing the same thing my man was doing.
Right. Yeah. Wild. You need a teacher. People that don't have some type of that's really boring. Life can get really boring if we don't have teachers around us.
Well, it's stagnant, right?
No movement.
The moves get stagnant, the thought process, whatever. And particularly if you're a teacher,
Right.
you should be going to more classes because you want to give your students, I got that little tidbit. Let's call it the nugget.
Right. But I do believe that, and the cool thing too is that it's so funny. We were just talking about the teacher, and I feel like and a lot of the things that we learn in yoga can get implemented into our everyday regular life. That's the cool thing. So like we want to be evolving in yoga, but like we want to be evolving as a human. So we want to be learning every day. We're not cool. Life is going to get really boring. Just like your practice is going to get boring.
Your role becomes smaller. Yeah. Wherever you are, you know, today, 5 years, 10 years from now, that's not going to apply the same way. Right. So if you haven't changed and gotten out of that, evolved to the next step, what's the use? What's serving?
Right.
We are in a historical time, and we are in a time that the patterns of history follow. This particular time that we're in is the dark time. So as we sit here and as we are so fortunate to live during this time, I guess I would ask you and ask myself if we could do something to change the way, let's just come to the root of the division.
Right.
And the hatred of people where it's a zero-sum game that if so-and-so gets something, it's taken away from me.
Right.
So, I mean, I think those things have created, a little bit of the environment. So if we just want to give people lobotomies.
Yeah. I mean, how if people could just be happy
I just want people to be happy. I want to
be happy for each other. If we can be it us. It's not again, like, because not everyone's going to be happy.
Yeah, that's not the reality. You don't want to be happy all the time because
Living has then recognized
when you're happy.
Yeah. And then also if you're happy all the time, you're not experiencing real life because life is just going to be on life term. Life isn't always going to be happy, right? And like that's one of the things that I learned when I got sober, because when I got sober, I wanted to be happy all the time. I was saying, well, I'm sober now. I deserve this, right? Because I'm not doing all the bad things I was doing before. And now it's like, no, No, now you're going to deal with life on life's term, right? And, but I think it's important to feel at peace and not so reactive and be more responsive and speak from a place of more strength and peace and empowerment rather than hatred, ego, self-obsession, and just more love.
Yeah, just to kind of pay it forward, because when you pay it forward, it eventually comes back to you back to, service and volunteering and doing things of that nature. So if everyone could have a little bit more empathy, right, for their neighbor, for the stranger, that will surely come back to the person that has given it. So empathy.
Right. Empathy now needed.
Yes. Can we close out with it? A little. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ibly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, people. My name is Olga Karloutsos.
And I'm Karen Mehiel.
And we are from the podcast
Of What the Hell
Are We Well?
We're going to find out.
We'll see. With love
And peace.
What the Hell Are We Well is a community engagement podcast brought to you by CEA Media. Stream anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can follow us at arewewell.podcast on Instagram and at FLOK.5PillarsYoga on Instagram. Make sure to check out our yoga studio and upcoming programming at FLOKNYC.com.